This is the Frank and Friends Show. Hi, I'm Frank Murphy.
And I'm Stacy McCloud.
What a delight.
This is so much fun.
Yes.
I just was so excited the whole time I was driving up here and I knocked on the door. I was like, I've not seen you in what, 20?
Well,
longer than that,
I looked
right?
it up. It's almost 15 years.
15. That feels like it's been
Because
longer.
I think when I looked to see what pictures we had together, and I found some, I think from your goodbye party, your Channel 8 goodbye party, and I think they were, I can look them up again, but I think they were 2009.
Yep,
right around your
2008.
birthday. It was on your birthday. It's a combination. Stacy's birthday, let's get rid of her.
Something like that.
So I think that's where it was. So 2009
Yep.
now is 14 years, or 14 and a half, if you wanted to be precise.
I don't even know anymore.
Because your birthday's in the spring and this is the fall.
Sometimes people will say 2009. I'm like, is that 20 years ago? Is it 2 years ago?
It feels like it. Well, because our time is off.
I know.
Everything is it's just gelatinous, and I'm trying to remember, how long have I been doing improv with Einstein Simplified? But do I count the year that we sat out and didn't play? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Time's a weird thing. Isn't it?
Well, we appreciate you tuning in to see if Stacy would show up, because she did.
I'm here.
And we also appreciate your subscribing on YouTube, hitting the like button, smashing that subscribe button, in fact. Thank you. And you can also find us on the audio podcast apps and on our website, frankandfriendshow.com/store. We've got lovely merchandise like the cup that Stacy is using. You will get a different cup. You don't get to buy Stacy's cup. That one.
We could arrange that.
That one stays in the house.
We can start taking bids.
Yeah, it's not quite beach towel weather anymore. As the pool water.
I don't know. Today it's warm.
Well, you can go out and
It's Tennessee, back and forth.
You can stick your toe in the pool if you want, but I thought it was getting too cold.
You don't do the cold water plunge out there?
I guess I could try it, but the pool water was down to, I think, 74.
It's got to be colder for that.
Which is,
For the cold water immersion?
Well, then I guess I could put on my beautiful Frank and Friends Show hoodie to warm up after that.
Yeah.
That comes in multiple colors. My wife has a black one, I have a red one, other people have green and whatever. Whatever suits you. Okay. So you're here. I should mention I've got a gig. If you're going to see me talk about the history of the Body Farm, you can do that at the Von Orr Library Thursday, October 19th, 7 p.m. More information at bonezones.com. Don't forget the S, as they've booked me. Dr. Bass is retiring from public speaking, but they wanted somebody to come do a presentation. And I've emceed so many of his talks that I have many of them absorbed into my head.
You kind of became an expert.
Yeah. Oh, one other piece of housekeeping business, the mum.
Nice.
In the last episode, I put a mum back there, and it was unbloomed. It was all green. And I thought, well, maybe it'll bloom by the next episode. It hasn't. It's outside. I bought the other one at church, and then I was at another event. I was emceeing a banquet for the people of Haiti, the Haiti Outreach Program, just 2 days ago, as we record this. And I went to go buy, and they still had leftover mums, and they said, well, make a donation to Haiti, take a mum, take a leftover food, take whatever. So I go to do that, and one of the ladies who used to be the chairwoman, they rotate, so the chairwoman from either last year or the year before, she won't take my money. She says, it's been taken care of, thank you for being the MC.
Aww.
And best of all, I had picked out an orange mum, because go Vols.
That's right.
And I get home, and my wife's like, oh, thank you, that's nice.
She not a Vol fan?
She said, no, she loves the Vols, but she's like, I really love those dark red mums. I'm like, oh, well, I didn't get a dark red mum. Aha, until now.
There you go.
But I broke it in the car. So unfortunately, I've got extra mum.
Extra mum.
That I've just I don't know what to do with it other than.
Just have it here.
I guess I could put it next to Mo. It's not going to.
Oh, Mo.
If he were alive, he would eat that.
Yeah.
He used to eat hibiscus flowers and strawberries and whatnot. But he's been dead over 20 years, I think, so.
Mo. I like that he's here with us, though.
Yes, yeah. I brought him out one time as a joke, just to show and tell, and he gets more comments than I do.
That's the way it works with any kind of animal, though.
Yeah. So, especially, we've got a viewer named Renee, who is always commenting on Mo. So, Renee, Mo has become, as you know, I put him here because to keep you watching.
Hi, Renee.
And we got rid of the bell, which she hated too. So, Renee, this is like the Renee show.
The Renee show.
Yeah.
Whatever Renee says goes.
Yeah. Or the Renaissance. So let's talk about you, because we mentioned that we lost you, Knoxville lost you in your bright light.
Oh, that's very sweet.
In 2009. But how did you even get here in the first place? Because you're from here.
Yeah, so I am from a little town about 30 miles north of Knoxville, Campbell County.
Oh, I was on the air in LaFollette until recently.
LaFollette, Jacksboro, Caryville.
Yeah.
Yep. So I grew up right on the lake in Caryville, and my grandmother lived in LaFollette.
See, the one movie that I'm in was filmed in New Tazewell on Norris Lake.
What movie?
Oh, you don't want to know.
Okay, we won't go there. Skip.
It's called Fish Bait the movie, and I'll only recommend it because I die first. It's a horror movie, and I get eaten by a giant catfish fairly early on.
That's the way to go. Or not.
Yeah. But I got to spend a good amount of time while we made that in LaFollette and Campbell County, and at the Flat Hollow Marina, which is like, I think, it's Tazewell, right? Speedwell.
Okay.
It was called Speedwell.
But you know more than me.
All right. Well, anyway, so you grew up in the LaFollette area.
Yeah. So that's where I grew up, born and raised.
Yeah.
Went to Campbell County High School, class of 1998.
Oh, you're giving it away.
I know. I don't care at this point.
Yeah.
I kind of got to that point the other day. I used to always remember how old I was when somebody asked because it was easy.
Sure.
I was born in 80. So whatever year it is, it's easy. So if it's 2023, I know I'm 43, But the other day I said, I'm 42. And I was like, wait. What even year is it? I was like, no, I'm 43.
Do the math, Stacy.
Yeah, so I'm already. I don't even. It's fine. So I don't mind telling people my age. It's part of it. I getting older is a gift, and you just embrace it. And there's a lot that has come with age. A lot.
Dear, most of my viewers are older than you. You're fine. You're still
so they're probably going, what? But then they get it though. I was just a baby when I was in Knoxville, and I thought I was all grown up.
So because if you take 43 minus 15.
I wasn't even 30.
You were in your 20s?
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
I was a baby when I was on air here, but I felt like I was an adult. And that's part of...
What was your first job on air?
My first job on air, so I went to school at East Tennessee State University. After I left Campbell County, I went to ETSU. And my very first job, I was an intern at the station in Johnson City in Bristol.
Oh yeah, there's some good stations up there.
And so I interned there and produced a little bit, and then immediately started sending off tapes. And I kind of had a strategy. Most people have a goal of going to New York, or, whatever. That was never my goal. Oh. My goal was to come back home.
Nice.
And make sure I wanted to be home when my grandparents were still alive.
That's so true for people like Beth Haynes over at Channel 10.
Yeah.
And it was, I don't think she necessarily had it as a goal the same way you did, but when it happened, she's like, this is it.
Yeah, I was shocked that I left, but rewind. So I knew my goal was I wanted to be home, especially if my grandparents were still alive, so that they could see me on television.
That's nice.
And my teachers, and I just wanted to come back home. And
were they surprised the day they tuned in to watch Chef Walter, and there you were?
I don't know. My grandparents were elated. My grandmother and my mama were super, excited, or my mama. But so I was strategically sent out my reels. I knew I couldn't get a job in Knoxville right away. The market was too high. I was a baby. And so I kind of did my homework, and there was a station in Hazard, Kentucky.
It's owned by the same company. That was at WMYT?
WYMT.
WYMT.
Yep.
A lot of people have come from there to
Tons of people.
Knoxville.
Yep.
Through the great television company.
Heather, I think Heather Haley.
Well done.
I say strategic. I always aim for the top because I'm one of those people like you never know.
Yeah.
So I actually sent my resume reel to Steve Crabtree, the news director at the time in Knoxville, and he was the one that was like, hey, we can't hire you right now because you're just out of college.
Yeah, you're too green.
He was like, but I see your potential. And he was like, so I would like for you to apply. And he's the one that kind of told me.
Yeah.
So I would have never probably gone to Hazard, Kentucky had I not known that there was a sister station thing. Now, no. If anybody's watching from Hazard, I'm going to get to that. I actually fell in love with Hazard. But I went to Hazard because I knew
she became the Duchess of Hazard.
Yeah, something like that. I knew it was going to be my road home.
Yeah.
And so I was.
Nice.
I was there for 2 years. I started out as the main anchor in Hazard. And
I believe it.
And so then when my 2 years kind of came up there, I had an opportunity actually.
Yeah.
There was a job opening in Lexington and a job opening in Knoxville.
Oh wow!
And
those are both good towns.
Yeah, and Lexington was the main anchor, and Knoxville was morning anchor, and there wasn't even a question. I knew I was going to get to go home.
Yeah.
So I came home and joined Bob in the morning show. And
I'm glad you did because as I was doing morning radio. And you don't get to watch morning TV unless very few stations nowadays, more of them do. But back then, very few stations had a TV in the control room, so maybe you'd see it, but you wouldn't hear it. However, you come home and your evening newscast is on at 12 noon for people like me.
Yeah, for you.
Yeah, so that would be me. I would come home from work and my 5 o'clock news is on at 12 noon in effect. So I turned that on, which is why I became addicted to watching Chef Walter and you and everybody else on that show. And then I thought, I know it's worked for other DJs. I've worked with, I used to be a producer on bigger shows in like Washington and Los Angeles. And they would always talk about the news anchors on TV and try to get, because we're trying to get on TV.
Yeah.
You see, we're trying to get attention. So I would talk about you and about Abby Ham and whoever was on, Tirsa Smith was on Channel 6, but she was also on our show, so she would get a little mad if I talked about the others too much. But the morning news anchors, I would talk about you guys on the radio. And then, we start crossing paths at charity events. What was it, the Bachelor auction? Or no, it was the United Way, I'll get this.
Fashion show
I'll get this. It
time?
Was Goodwill Industries. Had a Mr. Knoxville pageant.
That's what it was.
And you were the MC. And I went to support some of the guys in the radio station who were competing and trying to win dollar bills. But that's just one example, because I have a picture from that. But we would see each other at parades, and we would see each other at other children's hospital type events, just where everybody goes, all the media folk.
Yeah, became friends over the years.
Yeah,
that was a good time. I definitely miss those days, and I miss my Knoxville TV family.
From here, did you go to
Nashville
to be on TV?
So I decided to. It was kind of unexpected, but because I'd just taken I left morning, and I was doing the 4 with Mark, noon and 4 and 5.
So you were dead to me at that point anyway.
No, I was still doing the noon. I was doing the noon and 4.
Oh, the noon and 4, okay.
Yeah, the noon and 4, and I think the 5. You have all these different newscasts. I don't even know what they have anymore. And
they probably have most of the same ones.
And then I just got promoted to do the evening news, and life just was kind of pulling me in a different direction. I was going through a lot of things, and I felt like Knoxville wasn't the place for me at that moment where I needed to be in my life. And
I do recall some of this.
And so it was going to be the healthiest thing for me to not be here.
Yeah.
And I got a job offer at Fox in Nashville to be the entertainment reporter. So I actually was considering getting out of news at the time. A lot had happened.
Did you love country music already?
I loved it. I liked it, but it wasn't like a love. I kind of.
Did you like it, or did you love it, or did you want some more of it?
Oh, good! Look at you. You're quick. I just liked it.
That's my quota. That's my quota for the show. We're now done.
I liked it, but I was eager to learn more about it. It was country music was one of those things. You're from East Tennessee; it's always there. Yeah. But I would have my phases. I would like it. I would love it. I would like it. I would love it. I'd want some more of it. So Nashville was kind of calling.
I went to my very first country concert the other day.
Oh yeah,
I went to see. Yeah.
Really?
I know.
Okay, who was your first?
Emily Ann Roberts,
okay,
who is from Carnes High School,
okay,
is, I think, going to be a big star. And they're working her, so I got a press release about her album release party for her album called Can't Hide Country. So I write back to him and say, oh, hey, maybe I could interview her when I film the PBS show. I've got a PBS interview show that we film in November and April. And they're like, oh, well, why don't we try to work it out? So, all this back and forth. What other days are available? Can she film it in September? Can you do this? Can you do that? We finally agree that we'll do it at Thanksgiving when she's home for Thanksgiving. And they're like, oh, by the way, do you want to come to the concert at the Bijou? And I thought, well, if I'm going to interview her for half an hour, I probably should.
Do a little research.
So I went, and it was wonderful. Yeah. I loved it.
Hey, look, you heard it here first. She's going to be somebody, because let me tell you how those things work. The little band, well, you might not. Are you a country fan? You are a country fan?
Let's say I could, if you asked me, name country artists from East Tennessee, I could probably give you 4 off the top of my head.
Dolly's got to be one.
Yeah, okay. But I also would say, what's his face? Kenny Chesney, Morgan Wallen, and the band Perry all come to mind. And then now Emily Ann and Dolly, so that's 5.
Well, there's a bunch, but there's this little band. If anybody's a country music fan, they'll know who they are. Florida Georgia Line.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I met them one time.
So I was like the first reporter to interview them before they were anybody. So like you just know when you meet somebody, they're gonna be.
They were doing a syndicated country countdown radio show. I think it based out of Nashville, but they were the guests, or they were going to be the guest host that week. But for whatever reason, the day they had to record it was the day they were performing in Knoxville. So they came to my radio station, and basically I got kicked off the air that day so that I could run the board for Florida Georgia Line, so that they could record their intros and outros to all the songs.
That's cool. Yeah.
So that's my one experience with them.
They're cool
so I'm the anonymous guy behind the plastic. We were in the same room, but I'm over behind. behind all the mic booms and behind all the stuff running the levels.
Cool guys. Yeah. So there's a lot of stories like that. So when I went to Nashville, there's a ton of people that have made it big that, they were just coming up. But to rewind why one of the reasons I left Knoxville, I just saw this opportunity, and Craig Edwards, who used to work, with me, he was working at Fox, and he was like, I told him, I was like, I just think I'm kind of done with news. Not to be somber for a minute, but
and his wife was still working at Channel 10 here, was maybe?
If she was at that point.
Oh, okay, because she eventually went on to like St. Louis or something.
So a lot happened my last year there in Knoxville. One being the high school shooting, Campbell County High School, and that was my high school. Some of my principals.
Wow.
And I don't know, you learn to not take things home with you, but you can't help but take things home with you.
Yeah.
And when that happened, it stayed and I took it home with me. And it was just, as I mentioned, I was young when I was in Knoxville, and I think just the doom and gloom of the news and being 27, 28 years old and having to grow up and feel like I was 40, what I mean? Like when I was 27 was...
Because that's what they tell news anchors. They don't tell you to act like you're 40, but they have you dress like you're 40. They have you talk like you're 40.
And live like that too. And like I just felt like I had missed my whole late 20s and 30s and skipped to 45, 50. Sure. And it just kind of started feeling heavy. And I didn't want to be out of television, so I knew I wanted to move to Nashville. And Craig was like, look, I know you don't want to be in news, but there's a job opening here, and I think it's perfect for you.
Nice.
It's an entertainment reporter.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that happened. I went and interviewed. I was offered the job the next week.
I bet.
And turned in my notice and made the trek to Nashville, where I was on Fox there for until 2012. Mm-hmm. And then I got a job offer with Headline Country with Stormy Warren. He had done the solo thing for years.
That's a national country
on like Great American Country.
Right.
It was. So he had done solo for years, and they were like, it's time for you to have a female co-host.
Yeah.
So they set out to look for a female co-host.
Hey, it worked for Porter Wagner.
Did it work out? End up working out pretty well?
I'm not that well.
All's well that ends well. But so they did this big search for a female co-host, and I got lucky and got picked, and I left Fox and went to do work for Headline Country for a year or so. But then GAC decided that they wanted more reality television, so we were replaced with reality.
Like
TV.
every channel. Yeah. I mean, they're all identical now. You don't even.
So I kind of at that point I kind of regretted leaving, but I was just like, I don't really know what I want to do, and I ended up taking a job that ended up kind of being fun. It was for Power Block TV, which is filmed out of Franklin, Tennessee.
Oh.
And it's the nation's #1 automotive how-to show. Okay. And it airs in syndication on a bunch of different networks, but also on like Spike TV and different things like that. So I did that for a while, and then I unexpectedly had to leave Nashville for my family at the time and move to Vegas. It was not a choice. It was necessarily mine, but it's what I needed to do and what was right for my life at that time again. And so I ended up leaving television right about that time in 2014. So I left in 2014. The year before that, or somewhere around in there. No, I'm sorry, I left in 2016. 2014,
there's no quiz.
Well, there's a little relevance to the time.
Oh, okay.
I had started competing, decided I wanted to compete in bodybuilding. And just to see how fit I could get, And
you got fit.
Eventually, yes.
I have a confession to make.
What?
I had to stop looking at the Instagrams. I mean, I love you dearly, and we're friends on Facebook, but I did unfollow the Instagram just because...
It's a lot.
It was a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So don't take it personally.
No, I do not take it personally.
It was just there was a lot of glutes. Is what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, a lot of glutes. That's a part of it. A lot of people don't understand that, but you wear the suit.
But I think you'd understand. I felt like
100%.
You'd understand.
Yeah, and in different phases, I have. I was focused on a fitness career at that time, and I had fitness sponsors.
You won awards.
So I moved to Vegas after I'd been competing as an amateur a couple years. And I decided, I don't really want to start over in Vegas on the TV thing. I'm really enjoying the fitness thing. So I started taking clients. I'm working with sponsors. And I was like, okay, I'm really going to try to earn pro. So you earn pro status by competing, and you have to win a national show. So in 2016, my first show of 2016, I competed at that show, and national show, and earned pro status.
Wow.
So I became a pro and immediately started competing in the pro circuit. And that kind of became my hobby, but also kind of a job.
Right, because now you've got a source of a steady source of income.
It's still a very expensive hobby.
Oh, okay.
But I also kind of shifted and started taking clients. So my Instagram, everything shifted to being training focused, whatever. And I was kind of known as like the glute queen. So like very glute focused.
And I'm just a pudgy East Tennessee guy. I'm like,
And people don't understand it. A lot of people don't, and I get that. But we have the tan, and you have to wear a certain kind of suit on stage because it's the only way you can see your muscle definition.
You know what? But I also, I'm no fault you for this at all. I'm just saying I personally made a choice to, remove the source of temptation.
Well, no, a lot of people don't understand it. You would be surprised. I would get some messages from people that were just like, I can't believe you're wearing this skimpy suit, or whatever. And I would have to explain to them, well, it's part of bodybuilding. You have to be able to see the muscles, and it's, it's. I get how it can look very sexualized.
But I'm also going to compare you favorably to ballet.
Okay.
Now, I have appeared as a comedy character in ballet with the Oak Ridge Ballet, Civic Ballet. I did it for 10 years. And I got to see, they would bring in professional ballerinas and men, ballet, whatever they call them. Ballerinos, I think it's actually
Is it really ballerinos?
I think it's technically the name for it. But those leotards, those tights are designed to show the exact same stuff that, muscle definition.
Yeah.
And that's the point of the ballet outfit. That's why the girls, the better they are, the shorter their skirts.
Yeah.
The novices wear skirts below the knee, and then the better they get, the tutus get higher and higher, because you're showing the control they have over their muscles in these impossible positions. They're able to hold a pose.
I didn't know that.
It's the same.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
it's the same. It's the same, except they dance around to music, and maybe they've got on a different colored tight, depending on whether they're the black swan, the white swan, or some other character.
Whatever they're doing.
Yeah, but it's really the same.
Yeah, so there's just no way for the judges to see our muscle definition in the right way unless we have the tan because the lights are so bright, and then the certain cut of suit to show your, So anyway, it is what it is, and I enjoyed it, and I did get in the best shape of my life, and then some. And I competed as a pro for.
You should have seen the way she used to crack walnuts. It was. You just would hear the sound, and then she'd say, "Oh, time for a snack."
Something like that.
No hands involved.
Like but I made it to the Olympia twice, which is the Super Bowl of bodybuilding.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah. So once you do that, it's kind of like you either keep going and try to win the Olympia, or you just kind of you're done. And I wasn't necessarily done. It's a very addictive sport. It's a very addictive sport.
Well, because if you slack off, you lose your physique quickly. Yeah. I mean, believe me, I can do a whole class on losing your physique quickly.
It's hard. It can be very mental, and now I just live the lifestyle. I work out every day, and I'm not quite as strict, but I'm healthy.
And you're spending time mostly in Nashville, Memphis.
Yeah. So
a little bit in Vegas.
So that was in 2016 that I moved to Vegas, and I quit competing in 2019. I wanted to keep competing because I was kind of at the height of my career. I'd done 2 Olympias. I'd just gotten home from Japan and China where I'd placed in the top 3 with girls that had won the Olympia. And I went through some stuff in my life where I had to make a choice, and I needed to stop competing because I knew that I was going to use that kind of as a crutch to keep myself from going through a healing phase that I needed to go through. Yeah. Because again, it's very addictive and it's time consuming, and I could have easily poured all of myself into that and not done what I needed to do to feel as a human being.
You would have previously poured all yourself into broadcasting and TV news, because that also is a massive, I don't know if time suck is the right word for it, but life suck.
Yeah, life
It just takes up everything.
Yeah, but then that was a career. This was, again, more of a hobby, even though I had clients.
Okay.
But I just needed to shift away from that, go back to having I don't want to say a real job, because being a fitness coach is a real job, but more of a steady income, something like that, and not something that I was going to use to distract myself from doing some healing that I needed to do. And so in January of 2019, I kind of took a writing job doing some blogs and stuff for a CBD company. And that was kind of temporary while I tried to figure out what I wanted to do.
That's how you eventually get into public relations?
Yeah, and so, and then I started, then the perfect job came along. It was for a fitness and workout company, and they needed an internal house writer.
Yeah.
And so I was able to marry my careers of fitness and writing, and
brilliant.
And I was on TV for them a lot and did some producing.
Yeah.
So then it's kind of snowballed from there, and I worked for a couple of different fitness companies over the years, and then now I work for a marketing company that's based out of Nashville. So kind of come back full circle, which is why I am back in Tennessee a lot.
Well, let's talk about that, but let me do, before we get into the seriousness of that topic, let's talk about comedy.
Okay.
And the Secret City Improv Festival, which is coming up before you know it, first weekend in October. They did it on the bye weekend. Okay. So you can't go to did you go to a football game while you were in town?
It didn't work out, but we had a little party at my sister's house. I had all the football foods and all that. Yeah.
Well, you can't go on October 6th or 7th either, because that's where they deliberately scheduled the Improv Fest for the bye weekend. And if you buy your tickets at secretcityimprovfest.com/Frank, I get a gold star next to my name and maybe even a bonus point.
Ooh,
so there's going to 23 professional troops, including the one that I'm in, Einstein Simplified, and 3 high school troops. So I think in the last episode I made a mistake because I couldn't remember which high schools were there last year, but I apologize to Oak Ridge, whom I forgot. Duh, they're in festivals in Oak Ridge, and their improv team is spectacular. And then Hardin Valley, and I think the third one was probably West, but anyway, those ones are probably coming back because they did so well last year. And I was excited about it because one of the high school kids recognized me from Scholars Bowl.
Oh,
She's
that's
like, "Oh,
cool.
you're that guy.
That's cool.
Oh, no, you're funny, but over there, you're serious." And we're doing shows on that Friday and Saturday. So on Friday the 6th, there's 3 evening shows, 7, 9, and 11. And those will be with different troops from all over the place, including some from the Tri-Cities. There's a Blue Plate Special from Greenville. There's Nashville Improv. You should go see Nashville Improv and tell them I said hi, tell them I sent you. They do a musical improv. So they make up, like Wayne Brady, they're able to do regular skits and or bits, whatever you call them, I guess sketches, that we make up on the spot, but they can also make up songs on the spot.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is fantastic. It's amazing.
That's fascinating. Such
So
talent.
Lacey Madison over there and that gang at Nashville Improv, highly recommend. And they're going to be at the Secret City Improv.
So they're all coming here.
To Oak Ridge,
cool.
Grove
That's
Theater,
cool.
Historic Grove Theater in Oak Ridge. So on Friday, it's 7, 9, and 11. And then on Saturday, we're going to start with shows at 3 in the afternoon to get some of the high school kids and the families be able to watch. So there's family-friendly shows at 3 p.m., 5 p.m., and 7 p.m. Now, the 7 p.m. show on Saturday is the one that I'm in, which I look at the rest of the lineup, I'm like, well, we're gonna have to keep it clean on purpose because they put us in the family-friendly show, which we're not normally in, but okay. There's a group coming back from last year called Louis Yes Anderson. So you know who Louis Anderson, the comedian, was.
Yeah, the name sounds familiar.
Well, he hosted. Yeah, you'd recognize. You would know him. And then there was a yes and is what you say in improv. Yes and. So they're Louis Yes Anderson, but the guys come out there and they whatever characters they're playing, they do it while they're impersonating Louis Anderson. It's very funny. So you'll see them again this year.
That sounds like a good time.
So then after the family-friendly show that I'm in at 7 o'clock, there's, I guess, regular shows. I don't know how filthy they're going to be at 8:45 and 10:30.
Regular.
And if you want to learn improv, there'll be some workshops. You can pay some of these experts like Nick Condon, TJ Mannix, Neil Leahy, Nashville Improv Company, Joe Carroll, all teaching workshops on Saturday the 7th. And then TJ Mannix is sticking around to do one after they have the church services in the Grove Theater on Sunday afternoon. There'll even be something special there. So go to secretcityimprovfest.com/Frank. Buy your ticket, $10 for one night, $20 for both nights. I'd recommend that.
Yeah,
or if you're in Oak Ridge, you can buy them in person at Calamity's Coffee, Checkpoint Gaming, and a couple other places. The full list, because they've added a few, is on secretcityimprovfest.com. And there you go. I have to take a drink. Something about this time of year where I end up needing to hydrate more and do more of the Ludens and more of the Flonase. And I guess it's just allergies,
Yeah,
right?
the fall, the leaves
Which,
and all that stuff, yeah.
'Cause I don't get it that bad in the spring, but the issue I have is starting on October 3rd, I guess, I've got to record the TV show Scholars Bowl, which is my favorite. I love it. I love it so much. It's so much work. My wife, in fact, is in the other room working on it right now. She's helping sort the questions so that we'll be ready to go when we start recording. These shows will be on in January, February, March. But for the first time, it's the 40th season of the show. And no, I have not hosted it all 40 years.
I wasn't thinking that.
Some guy named Hop Edwards hosted it in the olden days. And then Diana Morgan and, oh no, I just forgot the lady's name. I always forget her name. And then I've been doing it now for 8 years. This will be my 8th season
fun.
as host of Scholars Bowl. Started in season 33. So 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, yeah, in my 8th year. And for the first time in recent memory, going back, 10, 15 years, first time in recent memory that we have had a perfect tournament, 64 teams. That's the goal. We've always wanted to get 64 teams, but we've had, 50-something, and that means people get first-round buys. But this, no buys, 64 teams, 63 games, everybody loses once except for the winner, and we lose and you're out. So I'm very excited about that, and that'll be
fun.
but it seems like every year.
You've got all kinds of stuff going on.
I'm worried about losing my voice at the end of, because we do 6 episodes in one day.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
I know.
And how long? They're long, I guess.
Half hour each.
Yeah, that's a
but
lot of talking.
It takes an hour to record them.
Yeah.
because you also have to do a little warm up with the kids before we start taping.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep, that's a lot of talking.
Yeah, so I probably should stop talking now and let you talk about Dr. Jason Collier, who is a restorative dentist?
Cosmetic implant dentist. Yeah,
in Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, Memphis.
Okay.
Yeah, like right outside of Memphis, Cordova.
Oh, all right, so it's
in
further
the Memphis
over.
area, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you can go there, you might be able to benefit highly.
Yeah, so one of our clients, Southern Dental Implant Center in Cordova, this is kind of a VIP client. So he gets a little pro bono work. I won't talk about my dating life, but anyway, he's a VIP client. And probably the reason I've spent a lot of time in Memphis. A very handsome implant doctor.
It all becomes clear, as you'll see. I've got a picture of him.
Yeah, but he, lady, sorry. Anyway, he has a charity called The Gift of a Smile.
Beautiful.
And for years, they have, not long after he opened his practice, over a decade ago, I think it is, don't quote me on all these numbers, he started The Gift of a Smile, and every year they tried to give a smile makeover away to somebody in the community that was just, giving and in need and gave back to the community. And if you guys don't know anything about, these smile makeovers, when people have missing teeth or they need their dentures replaced or, they need all of their teeth replaced, that is extremely expensive. It's something insurance doesn't typically necessarily always cover. If they do, it's a very small amount. And so many people live with missing teeth. Which
I have a friend who's an actress who, unfortunately, because of some things, accidents earlier in her life, she's always trying to work around it and trying to glue on fake veneers, and they keep falling off.
It doesn't work. And there are things that not only emotionally and but physically that can cause problems with missing teeth over time. So anyway, once a year he's tried to do that. Well, we were trying to, he hasn't done it, I don't think, in like a year or so, and we were trying to think of something, and I don't know what it was. One day I was just thinking, and I was reviewing some things for some other clients, and I saw that September was National Suicide Prevention Month. And it hit me. I was like, he needs to do this for somebody that has been impacted in some way by suicide or mental health. And when I say suicide, it could be someone that has attempted suicide themselves, they've had suicidal thoughts, or maybe someone out there whose child or sibling or best friend or whatever has committed suicide.
And it's so many. I mean, we don't always talk about it.
There's such a stigma, and we need to break that.
Like, I know two former morning radio guys who committed suicide within the past, I'll say year, but really probably a year and a half, about a year apart from one another. One this past summer and another one the summer before that. And they're both radio morning DJs who are now, we get to the point where we're not relevant anymore, and I don't know how that depression affected them, or if I'm sure they had other problems. But when you all of a sudden, you haven't heard of this guy in a while, and then you hear that he's dead, and then you find out, oh no.
It's just people hide behind a smile, and you never know what somebody's going through, and it's something. Mental health is very near and dear to me, the topic, and it's something that we need to talk about. But suicide is especially hits home to Jason, Dr. Collier, because we'll play the video, and you'll maybe that's okay, and because we have put together a little video so people understand what the Gift of a Smile is, the smile makeover of up to $70,000 that he's going to give away for free to somebody out there.
Beautiful.
And why he wanted to tie it to suicide awareness.
Okay, well, here he is, the handsome Dr. Collier.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jason Collier, owner and implant dentist at Southern Dental Implant Center, a cosmetic dental implant practice in Cordova, Tennessee. So I believe in the power of a confident smile, but I also know that not everyone can afford to have their teeth fixed. That's why over 13 years ago, I started The Gift of a Smile, where we take one person a year, a deserving person who's been contributing to their community but can't afford to have their teeth fixed, and we take them, we do a 100% smile makeover on them, free of charge. This year we've decided to do a little something different and align with National Suicide Prevention Month and give away a smile up to $70,000 to someone who's been affected in some significant way by suicide. The topic of suicide and mental health is very important to me. At the age of 11, I lost my father due to suicide. It's a pain that has stayed with me and left an indelible mark on my life. I wanted to align the Gift of a Smile this year with suicide awareness and give away a smile makeover to someone in need of dental work that has been impacted by suicide. Not only to honor my father's memory, but also to shed light on this important issue and in my own unique way, help give someone their smile back. Depression and suicide rob people of joy. And when someone already doesn't want to smile, and then they have missing teeth or other bad things going on in their mouth, and they don't want to smile for 2 reasons. We want to be able to show someone love, let them know someone cares, and give them back both reasons for smiling again.
So that is Dr. Collier. And the gift of a smile, again, it's a little niche this time. So, you know, as it is trying to find somebody who needs dental work, that needs it financially, but also somebody that's been impacted by suicide, we need nominees. And I understand that it's
I thought
niche.
of I have a family member up in Virginia who lost her husband to suicide, but unfortunately she's got beautiful teeth.
Okay, yes, so you know, if anybody's
Unfortunately, she's got beautiful teeth.
Unfortunately, that's so sad.
What a smile.
But, you know, the reason is because, you know, obviously suicide robs people of their smile.
Yeah.
Especially if somebody knows, you know, had a loved one that took their life. And then take on top of that, if somebody has dental issues or missing teeth, they don't want to smile also. So it's kind of like a double hit.
Yeah.
And I know that it is a sensitive subject, and I know it's something that people don't like to talk about, and I get that. But if you know somebody that has been impacted by, you know, suicide or even severe depression or mental health, and they need significant dental work, either all missing teeth or a bunch of missing teeth, and we can help you. This is a free smile makeover of up to $70,000. You do not have to live in Memphis.
But you have to be able to get there.
Yeah, you have to be able to get there. So
he doesn't bring the teeth to you.
Yeah, unfortunately,
you bring the mouth to him.
Yeah, go to Cordova. But usually, you know, it can get done in a day or 2. They might have to come back. Well, he would prefer they come back, and depending on the severity, they would need to come back, you know, a little bit later.
Yeah.
So 2 visits at the most. But if you're here in Knoxville, it's a 6-hour drive. Yeah. You know, or if you're, you know, it's not far. So far all of the nominees we've actually received aren't from Memphis.
Especially when you rent an Audi or whatever it is you're driving.
Yeah, I lucked out on that.
What is that car?
So I'm in a rental car, and I lucked out. I always do the cheapest
6
option.
hours to Memphis. Come on. How fast are you driving?
Well, no, really it's 6 hours.
Okay,
about 6.5 hours. Yeah, depending on what part you go to.
All right.
But yeah, I lucked out on that. I did the you pick thing on the rental car, and normally when you do that, you know, you're going to get the crappiest car. And both times I've done it, I've gotten a good car.
That's outstanding.
I know, right? But anyway, so if you know anybody, there's a link that you can visit. I don't know if you can put that up as well.
Happily.
It tells you how to nominate. So basically, you can call or email, and we just kind of.
And
listen
even if
to
you're
your story.
listening on the audio podcast apps, look in the episode description, and on YouTube, look below in the episode description because the link will be in there.
Yeah. So if you know anybody, and this is we know that there's a right person out there.
Yeah.
And somebody out there has lost their smile due to depression or suicide, and also from having missing or bad teeth, and we want to be able to restore that for somebody.
We want you to live a long, happy, healthy life and die well into your senior years, like the wonderful Chef Walter, who there's so many things he did that we don't realize.
Yep.
You know, he was like very big in the World's Fair in 1982. It was a huge figure in the World's Fair. I mean, he was one of my friends, you may have met her at some point. And Patricia Robledo, she worked in the mayor's office. She now works at Knox County Schools. I interviewed her for many times for Olaf Festival, things like that. Well, she was just a kid, a teenager, 18, 19, 20, something like that. And she posted online the letter that she got from Walter Lambert, PhD, hiring her to be a VIP hostess, Spanish-speaking VIP hostess, bilingual, at the 1982 World's Fair. So she would, when a VIP would show up who spoke Spanish, she would take them around the fair and tell them, you know, what happened. And she stayed in Knoxville. She's still here. She's an integral part of our community, but was her first job.
Oh, that's
cool. After she got here with her family. So Walter had all of this. Now, most of us thought of him as the Amish-looking chef who was on the news with you.
Yeah, he was, you know, I saw that. I opened Facebook, Instagram or whatever one day, and that filled my feed, and all these people had sent me messages, and my heart just sunk. You know, I hadn't talked to Chef Walter in years. You know, and he was just such a joy. Just such a joy to be around.
Yeah.
Just being in his presence, you just couldn't help but be happier.
When I put out the flowers for the episode every day, I think of him because sometimes I'll do cut flowers. I'll go out to the garden and get something, but Walter would go and get them from Food City
and
in
they
Bearden.
were always when he was cooking.
And occasionally I would have to go out and do grocery shopping, so I would go like at 1, 2 in the afternoon, and I'd see Walter getting the flowers. I'm like, wait, why why are you getting flowers? It's what time is it? He's like, no, I'm returning them.
Yeah.
I didn't buy them. I just
doesn't get to
borrowed
keep
them.
'em.
I just borrowed them for 1 hour
Yeah.
to put them on TV.
Yeah.
And then he would tell people to go to Food City Beard and buy the flowers that he had just had on
And
television.
I'm sure people did.
Because he would drive it over there and put it back.
Oh, Chef Walter, he's such a special person, and we were talking about memories and everything, and when you're with him every day, 5 days a week, for the news, they
Yeah.
all kind of blend and bleed together. But he was always just so funny, and he always had something to say almost every day about Miss Ann. You know what I
sure.
mean? And just so if I remember things about him, it's just how much he loved her.
He'd work her name into every
He
food
loved her so
segment.
much.
And I would just crack up
Yeah.
watching because, I don't think it was like a retirement gig for
Yeah.
him. And he didn't really care that much about the cooking.
Yeah.
It was more about just being folksy
yeah.
and chatting. So most of this is going to sound critical, but I mean it as in love because it shows you how little it mattered. Most of the episode was spent with, was it 5 minutes he had?
Oh, yeah,
3
something
minutes,
like
2
that,
minutes?
yeah.
Most of his time was spent opening the can and dumping things into a pot.
Yeah.
And then it was run out of time. He's like, oh, well. And then all of
then
the,
he'd pull out the ones that was
important
done.
steps that you needed to see other than dumping things into a pot. And
Go get it online. Thankfully we had all that then.
back then,
Yeah.
you had to mail in, and they would send you a postcard
that's
with
right,
the recipe.
So when I was there, we were already doing the online thing, but I
Okay.
think you still could do that. But
Okay,
that's funny that you say that,
in addition to getting it.
because how I even know about Chef Walter, I grew up in East Tennessee, but I can remember my Mama McCloud and my Granny Taylor. They loved Chef Walter. So when I was little, I remember watching Chef Walter because of them. And then both of my grandparents, when they passed, they in their cookbooks, you would find like little handwritten things, and at the top it would say Chef Walter, and it would have the date. So my grandmother McCloud, she had one of his cookbooks, and she was still alive
Yeah.
when I was on television here. And I remember I got it from her and took it in one of my first months, and asked him to sign it, for her. And now
that's great.
she's since passed, but I have that.
That's
So,
fantastic.
but there's all kinds of handwritten recipes in it from where she'd watch it
Yeah.
at noon,
Yeah.
and write down his recipes because again, you had to write them down.
I've seen people post about this, and I would see him at literary events and festivals, like the Granger County Tomato Festival.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He'd go
Oh,
there
yeah.
every year and sell his cookbooks and there'd be a line. Most of the other
bet.
booths, no line. But Chef Walter would have a line of people wanting to buy
He's
his
our hometown
cookbook.
hero.
And he and I would end up, I realized pretty quickly that I was in over my head, that we would end up as a judge for a eating contest or a food contest of some kind. So somehow, as a media rep, I got invited to be a judge of the Signature Chefs auction, which was March of Dimes.
Yep, I remember
and
that.
Channel 8 would sponsor it for many years, and then they always rotate around, and some other radio station would sponsor it, but then it shuffles to maybe a different TV station and a different radio station. Now all of a sudden I'm involved. But Chef Walter, they still wanted him.
Yeah.
Even if it was a different TV sponsor, they didn't
Yep,
care.
they
He
want
had a
him.
guaranteed spot as a
Yep.
food judge. So I'm looking at him, trying to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing, and I quickly am thinking, I just love everything. And the experts, the foodies, in fact, the people from knoxfoodie.com are over there going, well, it's not quite perfect, it's not quite right. And I'm like, it's delicious. So I gave everything the highest score, and then I realized I'm not the right person
Yeah.
for this. I'm not discriminating enough. So I said, I'll MC it, or I'll get up and I'll make a speech about the blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah,
Let somebody else taste it.
Yeah, I can do some other aspect of this.
Yeah, speaking of tasting, I was diagnosed with celiac when I was
I
living in
remember
Knoxville.
that now that you mention it.
Yeah, so I started getting sick around 2001, and I was diagnosed.
There's
in
a place that sells
2006.
gluten-free donuts and fried chicken.
You can get everything now, but back
okay.
then you couldn't get anything.
All right.
Like the only place I could go was a pizza place that he had a connection, and an Outback, and like one other place. That was like it.
Oh, wow.
But Chef Walter was always. I remember, I had to explain to him, I can't taste your food, because and he would be so sweet. Before I even would walk up, he'd be like, "Now I checked. You can't have this," or if it had like a breading or something, he would always take some, put it in a little bit, and set it aside so that I
Didn't
could
have the
it.
bread on.
or whatever.
Did you have
it was,
to always get up from the anchor desk and walk over there for the clothes?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
after
And
they
that's
go,
when we got to eat it.
they'd go to the card
Yeah.
with the address to mail in,
Yeah.
the website and the mailing address to get the recipe. And then when it came back, it was like you and whoever's doing
Bob.
the weather.
And so that would Scott, Bob, and Chef Walter.
Scott Blaylock?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I found a picture of him driving the Channel 8 car I'll put it on the screen because you're in the back seat.
Probably. Let me tell you, I might have gotten those boys.
And I think Chef Walter is in the passenger seat.
Probably.
Come to think of it.
Yeah, see these lines that I'm starting to get right here around my eyes? Those are because of Bob and Scott and Chef Walter because they made me laugh so much.
That is so fantastic.
They just. I miss
Let me see if I can find the picture real quick because it's worth showing you to see if it is in fact. Well, here's a picture of you with a clown nose on. I don't know if you want to show that on TV.
I was a baby. Yeah.
I would tease you. I would take these pictures off. I would photograph my television.
You would, but you know what? I didn't mind because I will say this: everybody, and this isn't the case in every television demographic.
So that's Chef Walter. Sure.
Oh, send me that.
So that's you, and that's Scott Blaylock.
And Chef,
And Chef Walter. Okay, I'm happily.
Tennessee Traveler. But yeah, people are much nicer here than they are in some. And we got some ugly ones, but I did get a few ugly ones. And so if you ever remember me on TV mentioning celiac over and over again, it was because I would get messages from people telling me that I was ugly for not trying Chef Walter's food. So the only negative messages I think I ever got in Knoxville, and so I would try to, and he would try to bring it up a lot too, so people understood that I had, it's not an allergy, it's an autoimmune condition.
Right.
I called it an allergy because it was easier.
Right, but I
couldn't eat it.
You will be very sick and spend a lot of time in the bathroom, and be throwing up and coming at both ways.
Well, everybody, you know what's interesting about celiac? It's called the mystery disease because everybody reacts different. Mine was the opposite. I wouldn't get sick right away. It usually took 24 to 48 hours, and mine was more of I couldn't go for a long time.
Oh, no.
So it was like, everybody's different. Yeah. So, but I never got many ugly messages in Knoxville, but I did. It was because I didn't try Chef Walter's food. I do remember that. Yeah.
Oh, that is outstanding.
Yeah. So I miss him.
Yeah. Well, God bless him. May he rest in peace.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's probably a great place to wrap the episode.
Yeah.
You know, I'll mention that I would hope that I had such a lovely time. It's went by so quickly.
Fun. I know.
That I know you've got family in Campbell County, but if you can find any excuse, and you've also got family in Oak Ridge, if you can find any excuse to come back through Knoxville and just sit here and spend another 45 minutes with me, I would make.
If there's ever anything to talk about, I would love to. So
I don't care. We can talk about the same.
my dad lives right down the road.
Yeah.
My dad lives down the road. My mom and my sister and my niece live in Campbell County, and like I said, I didn't realize how close that Nashville was from here. Like it's because 3.5 hours from Campbell County, but it's only like 2 hours and 45 minutes from my dad's
Especially
house.
in that rental car you've got.
I might not get lucky and get that the next time.
The Nashville airport, people is on the east side of town, so it's pretty easy to get to the airport.
Usually when I rent a car, it's in Memphis, and so I'll go from Memphis to Nashville. I stay in Nashville for 2 or 3 days.
And work for your company.
Yeah, and then I'll come here, and see my family if I can, and then go back and work in Nashville, back to Memphis, and then eventually fly to Vegas. I'm kind of all over the place. But yeah. So.
Well, on those times, like around holiday times, I'll be here. My wife sings at church for all the big holidays, so we're almost always in town.
Yeah, I would love to come back. And
so
I miss home. People often ask, if I want to come, if I would ever come back, and used to I would say no. Well, I said I would never leave East Tennessee. And then I had to, or Tennessee. And then when I got to Vegas, I really do love it there. And I was like, I don't think I'll ever leave. But the weather, and there's something to do all the time, and it's not what you think living there.
Yeah.
But then
I've got a friend who's a lawyer in Vegas.
It
seems like a strange,
great.
But then you've got to remember, there's people have
families and
everybody
subdivisions
has regular jobs.
I don't think I go to the Strip unless somebody's in town. And
Did you ever go to Mount Charleston?
I've been a couple times. Yeah.
I need to. Well, afterward,
beautiful, yeah.
I got to tell you, there's a memorial. My uncle is memorialized in this Silent Heroes of the Cold War monument on Mount Charleston,
that's cool.
or at the base of Mount Charleston. You got to go.
Okay.
It's so much cooler. It could be 100 degrees in Vegas.
It's like 80 there.
Or colder. You got to bring a jacket. In fact, you know what you should bring is a Frank and Friends show hoodie.
Yeah, that would be perfect,
like this.
especially this time of year because it's not too cold yet.
You bring it to Mount Charleston. I can't even find the logo.
Actually, if you come to Vegas, period, here's a little pointer a lot of people don't know. Vegas gets cold.
Oh, desert cold.
Cold.
At night,
and like the wind, it feels very similar to Tennessee on some nights. When say it's in the 40s,
and California can be
20.
like that too, where you get the hot day during the desert, but it quickly, the hot air goes away quickly at night. So
basically you need to bring the beach towel for the day and then the hoodie for night.
You should go into marketing.
If you need any marketing, give me a call.
And I got the mug. I got Sarah Roberto loves the logo so much because her friend Jody Collins designed it from Feral Giant. So she says, and Sarah's got money, so she can afford this. She says that she's going to buy a Frank and Friends Show bucket hat and a canvas print for her office.
Oh, this is a really good logo.
We have to check. Yeah.
And I like it. Frank and
Thank you.
Friends.
That's local. A local artist named Jody Collins, who used to work for the New Sentinel, and he's got a design company called Feral Giant, and he just beautiful work.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me. This has been fun. Nice little blast from the past.
All right, let me tell you, if you like all sorts of audio entertainment, like when you're driving all the way back home, and you want to listen to anything on Audible, if you go to audibletrial.com/FrankandFriendsShow, you get a free 30-day premium membership, so you can listen to anything on Audible. Plus, every month, as a premium member, you get a credit for an MP3 download to pick a book. And I say pick the longest one you can get for one credit. Like 7 hours if you can do it. And download that and keep it forever.
That's
so
nice.
if you maintain your premium membership, you get an MP3 every month. There's other levels, of course. But if you try it out for those 30 days, of course, you're helping support us. There's so much audio. Not only is this podcast on Audible, but hundreds of podcasts, tens of thousands of audiobooks. You don't have enough time left in your life to listen to all of it. So pick and choose what interests you, and especially it's found time, like when you're driving.
Yeah,
and
long
it'll remember where you left off. It saves your page. So if you're listening on the Amazon Alexa, or you're listening on the app on your phone, or you're listening on the Fire Kindle thingies, all the things, it picks up at the exact same spot from
nice.
device to device to device.
That's nice.
That's audibletrial.com/FrankandFriendsShow.
All these new things.
All right. Look for the link in the description below for Dr. Collier, so you can maybe refer that to somebody who can use that free dental
or nominate
makeover.
Yourself as well. Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
perfectly fine too. Yeah.
We'd love to have one of you guys benefit from that, and brighten your day, restore your smile. Yeah. You're seriously invited back, and you get to keep the business card and the magnet.
Thank you.
That's the refrigerator magnet. Those are not for sale. Those
those are just for the guests.
Yes.
Got it.
I got to buy more of them. I get them from the guy who runs Cherokee Caverns. I buy them from him, and I've run out except for the last little tiny little step.
Get one of the final ones.
You have to, Stacy.
I love it. Thank you for having me. This has
You're
been so
welcome.
much fun. I love it. I love being back.
Well, get ready. We'll do the TV close here. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing and subscribing on YouTube. Tell your friends all about it. It is the Frank and Friends Show. I'm Frank Murphy.
And I'm Stacy McCloud. Have a beautiful day.
And we'll talk to you again next time. Oh, wow. That was really TV.
Did I pull it back out okay?
I wasn't even ready.
Maybe I should come back. Not too rusty. Not too bad.